What is going on, students? It's Devlin Cassidy, aka The Scholar, back with another very important topic to discuss today. We're going to talk about the state of premium after the ban list and kind of where Gridora falling off shakes everything else back into the format. And I am here to tell you today that it actually looks different regarding the minimal hits for the other week. But before we get into that, you guys can see everybody here below me. Please go check all of them out in the description down below. If you guys use the promo code SCHOLAR with dual spec and Kingslayer cards, you guys will save some money on your purchases. Pick up fabulous cards as well as fabulous accessories in terms of dice and all the high quality with dual spec. And if you need any travel bags, play mats, deck boxes, the whole 9 yards, go shop with everybody over at Dank Ritual. They have some amazing Year of the Dragon collection stuff. And if you haven't checked out that product review video, please go do so. It's right above me. But with that being said, let's get on right into it and let's get talking about premium. So premium actually is in a very interesting spot with the kind of toned down of Gridora. And so actually let's talk about Megacolony first. I'm still going to put Megacolony in the safe pick category. It's not like the anti-meta defining deck that it was last format because you had like Infinite Gridora. And Solemn touched on this in his video kind of when he reacted to the ban list. So now like decks have actual ways to like, you know, play out of Gridora. You can play your strides that play well in the like okay in the Gridora matchup. You survive, kind of mitigate, and then they fall off. Like the offensive output of Gridora falls off hard after that second Gridora, and he's very correct in that. But it's still a safe pick. I mean, it's still a good deck. It's still playable. But it's not going to be as like, you know, meta dominating. It's not going to be as your strongest pick as a meta threat would be in this tier list. So I think that Megacolony is a very good benchmark to still kind of examine it at. Like, where does your deck line up in a Gridora? And we are going to now roll on into the other clans. I still think Spike Brothers is a clan to talk about, just because, simply put, the GB8 list is very good. The grade 1 promo makes that deck a lot better. Sorry for bumping, but that grade 1 promo makes the deck a lot better. It lets you be able to go through the combo, hit your GB8 count higher and faster, as well as lets you insulate and play more defensive options like your Heal Guardians. So now like lists can be on like 4 of the grade 1 promo, and then 2 Heal Guardians, and then 2 of the Deadly Lucifer, or not Deadly Lucifer, but the Deadly Heal to search out with Jelly Beans. So you get some consistency while being able to up your buffer in terms of defensive output, which is really strong and really important for Spike Brothers to last to that GB8 turn. So I still think that GB8 is very safe, especially now with Gridora being toned down. You can go into your Villain Verminous turn, again, accelerate your GB count with your soul and things like that, and still push and be able to push. So you still do have access to being able to push through Megacolony, barring that they don't have a lot of soul for Darkface. Crest Luard or Revengers honestly is here. I would look higher. I could put Revengers low safe picks, but I just think Shadows with Gridora still probably going to be played because a lot of people picked up that deck for this format, having some other troubles. It just really loses hard in Gridora. If Gridora got banned, I could actually see being like put like Luard and Revengers like up here, like really at the top of safe picks if Gridora was banned. But of course that didn't happen. It got limited, so it still gets really slowed down in tempo. Gridora can kind of like grab control of the game, really push them and make them uncomfortable. But I think that definitely the grade 1 G Guardian promo for Shadows has potential, especially in Luard. So we will see if we get more of a better ban list come April 25th. But I still think that Shadows low-key is really good. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, Tachis don't bother. The more I play the deck, the more I understand like the deck has a glaring issue of if it doesn't go first, it doesn't have enough tempo to actually establish a game plan. And then if you're playing for the Koal Magnum loot, which is the best, like most efficient kill in the deck, not gonna lie, you're too late anyway. So yeah, Tachis need some help, brother. It's okay. Let's talk about the number 1 meta threat. Not the number 1 meta threat, but our first meta threat that we get to inside of Angel Feather, particularly Angel Feather Gize. This deck is crazy. There are so many different lines of thoughts for this deck, and this deck has topped very well this season. Kind of one of my surprises. I knew the deck was on my radar. I always kind of had it in my top 10 lingering for the premium formats for like the past 2 rotation cycles, but this deck surpassing my expectations. A lot of innovations to figure out some matchups like Gridora and things like that. Just been very, very interesting. And now with not having Infinite Gridora, this deck's going to see more play because you can Zeroth a little bit faster now as you turtle. So definitely, if you are looking to pick up a deck for this premium format to, you know, get your invite to Worlds, Angel Geese definitely should be on there. The next one is Neonectar. I think now officially with Ghidorah going down to 2, Neonectar is the best deck in the format. I've said this at the start of mine, and like we could have gone back and forth on a few other decks. Hands down, Neonectar. That deck is the most consistent deck I've ever played in Vanguard, and it's all thanks to Katrina. That card definitely should have gotten hit, at least put to 1, if not banned. So since that card and deck is fully untapped and was actually getting looked at by Bushiroad, play it while you can. Neonectar is where you want to be. Aquaforce, don't bother. I mean, like, it does some cute things, so I could see it on the look higher, like the low end, but nothing really there. Bermuda, I'll definitely put in the safe picks. I'll put it above Megacolony, actually, because it really does stomp on Megacolony. And it does still pretty well. I mean, they have all the defensive options with the lyrical units being able to bounce front row, plus like Citron and things like that. Just being able to be really high rolly and get your crazy gifts with like a Nesca plus Highlander. So I think Highlander still is very, very reasonable to play. It's actually topped pretty well this season in the conversion rate. So Highlander still doing his thing. I really like it. DI, don't bother. This is like go gambling. Like it's not consistent. If you're looking, and every time I rate a tier list, I'm putting a deck on like, if you take the deck and you're looking to win, are you gonna win? I should have prefaced that earlier in the video, but like that's how I always look at tier lists, and so like that's why I think a lot of people fight me on tier lists, because they try to look at the deck and the raw strength. I try to talk about the deck in the competitive environment. And that's why I steer away from like the S, A, B, like that tier. I really try to give you guys that context when I do a tier list. But getting back into DI, I still think is just too high rolly and too like, it doesn't have a floor. Like it either gets there or it dies. And I have a problem with that, taking that into a tournament. So that's why I'm not taking DI. But like if it's your day, bro, that cooks. And okay, still good. Go steal like cool tempo deck, still good. So go do that if you want to. Another safe pick though is DP. DP does not care what it plays against. Has gotten a few invites already to Worlds. Deck is very cool. Absolutely okay. CrestJet as well. Really, really good deck. That's... CrestJet's so good. Especially now with Megacolony getting toned down. Like, you now have, like, your 2 plays to beat Ghidorah, and, like, you don't, like, auto-die. So, CrestJet's gonna be coming up on some relevance. Genesis. Let's talk about Genesis real quick. I still think the Fenrir deck has time issues. I think Regalia is okay and not getting like has pseudo ladder and you can play ladder. But this is tough for me actually. I think low key we could definitely put like Fenrir. I think Fenrir is a safe pick. I had to face her against one of my rounds in Philly. So like the deck's good. I'm not hating on the deck at all. I think like in terms of time pilot wise management, very hard to play efficiently at a high level very consistently throughout a long day because there's a lot of brain power. But if you know the deck, you know your matchups, I can see it, you know, kind of being up here for a meta threat. Still just struggles into Ghidorah a little bit, but is absolutely okay to do so. And then we got Gold Paladin. I think you can look higher. I don't think this deck's cracked in premium, personally right now. That's my personal thoughts. Feel free to disagree with me. I'm just going to leave it there. It's an Excel deck with meh numbers. If you get Percival, cool. If you don't, your deck sucks. Is what it is. Give me Grand Blue. Grand Blue is now a meta threat. Especially now because like we can just high roll Ghidorah. It doesn't matter. Solemn's absolutely right on that. You need to start respecting Grand Blue. Deck can still brick though. So like if I was going to put it like based on consistency, this is how I'd organize the meta threats in terms of order. For right now, Great Nature, and look higher, like very low end of and look higher. Like it's got an A top, but I take it with a grain of salt. Deck's not crazy. Kagero really sucks. Link Joker, okay, there's a few Link Joker builds. Chaos, safe pick. Deleter Messiah, very safe pick. So I could see it like, you know, chilling at the low end of safe picks for sure. Nova Grappler, same thing. Still very safe pick. Victor, still very good. Still walks into Ghidorah very well. If you know your matchup, still can walk into these very well. Can have the opportunity to play Honley, which I'm saving for the last clan I want to talk about. Murakumo, Dogwater, do not play this clan. Narukami is also on the low end of safe picks. I think that this deck's fine. Eradicators are okay. Vanquisher I still think is meh. but not like raw Vanquisher, but I think like sweet Vanquisher is meh. Eradicator Pures is interesting. Nubatama, that's tough. I'll put it here. I'll put it here just because it's the deck that's also performed the best. This deck can have some breaking issues, though, which is why I put it like in this order. OTT, you can look higher, but I'm not going to do Great Nature like that. And I also think it's better than Aqua Force. I don't think it's better than Shadows. Royals, yeah, Jewel Knights are cool. Altmaior's is cool, but you still have better decks to take. Now Pale Moon. Let's make a new... Yeah, let me be able to visualize this for you. Add row above. This is the new row. If high rolls, just so that way I can display this to you all. So if it high rolls, you're not touching this thing. Respectfully, you my friend are not touching this deck. This deck is very strong on the high roll. The Excels should have not been granted a crest. Because now, guaranteed on the Clifford turn, you have Excel 1s that draw cards, which is no bueno, because now you can cash in like very minimal value like into Force Clans that you can afford to give Counterblast. You can trade in your Darkside Swordmasters for cards. You turn those into 14k beat sticks that can literally poke at your opponent and then threaten to draw cards and deal damage. Like easy, and that's not even the most broken part. Like you can like high roll, hit some soul, like hit like a purple trapezes plus a stand trigger, set up soul, combo out that way. The deck is very cool depending on the builds you're playing. There's a lot of different builds of Crest Harrier that I'm seeing, especially between like Vanguardians, Twitter, JP, other things like that. Like there's not a fully solved way to play this deck. There's different benefits to playing each deck version, but I'd still necessarily like highly consider just playing the 0 CB build, just because you're not losing the damage denying. So like if your opponent's trying to like low mitigate you to keep like your explosive plays off top, and they're just trying to like do you how like Nightmare Dolls was done last time, then like play it like that, which is like totally fine. However, if it doesn't high roll and it kind of low rolls and you miss, I think like here, honestly, because like, or honestly, I think I'd honestly put it like here or here, maybe above Angel Geese, just because like it can rush them. So like Geese still has that issue of like if it can't stack or it doesn't find the Heal Guardian, it low-key gets pretty uncomfortable pretty quickly. Even though it likes to take damage early and get like the trigger checks, you just like don't want to do that. However, now I'm gonna go like by the order. If you are not playing Honley this format, or your deck, you're not slotting your deck or building your deck to be able to play Honley and play under Honley, you are wrong. Because the offensive output of Harry is so high once you get to the Dark Lord Princess turns, you need to be playing something that counteracts that scaling, which is Honley. Honley also is like a format warping card, because now we have a format warping deck in Crest Harry, now forcing decks to warp the format to counter the warping like the warp deck. So now we have to play Honley. So all the decks up top can afford to play Honley. You can play 1-2 Honley in Grand Blue. You can play 1-2 Honley in Nubatama. You can play 3-4 Honley in Neo Nectar and reliably search it, which is again why I still think it's the best deck, is because again, you can reliably search the out to one of the biggest high roll threats right now in the game. And then of course Angel Gize can play it. Can play like at 2 copies I've seen List play it at. So all the top picks can play Honley. Grand Blue or Bermuda can cheat it out with Citron if it's playing that package, or the Puma. Megacolony hard stops Pale Moon, and then like Spike Brothers GB8 lists can play Honley. I'm not sure if Galley lists are right now. I haven't talked to Rudy or or Marshall or any of the other Spikes players that I know. Gear Chronicle, not really, since they kind of have that same output, and the reason like low key you like the deck start falling off is because like of the Honley presence. So like I would say like the biggest gatekeeper right now is Honley in between Megacolony and Spike Brothers, because Spike Brothers has trouble playing through Honleys if they're not on the GB8 version. If they are on the GB8 version, they have tier. However, Gears has a problem playing through Honley because a lot of their good extensions cost a counterblast, so then it's like it gains the Spike Brother Galley issue. Victor struggles into Honley, and then and then the rest of the decks do as well, that are like really high deranged multi-attack. So that's where I kind of put everything in terms of like my conclusive tier list. But thank you guys so much for watching. That's gonna do it for today. If you guys seriously have any like gripes, comments, concerns, questions about like Devlin, this is wrong, we need to readdress this, go ahead. I'm not gonna necessarily super debate you because I feel pretty well formed in these opinions, as well as like through my playtesting, through my discussions with my team and everything. That's kind of what I base my tier list off of, but like most of this is personal thought and most of this is after personal testing. But definitely, if you're gonna get 2 tips from this format to finish out the season before April, before Worlds, 1, definitely build your deck to be able to play Honley, and number 2, get your reps in against Crest Harry, and the different builds between stage build, between 0 CB build, between like all these builds, and understand that Megacolony is still a solid deck, still respect it, and build your G zone to have control outs to Megacolony if your clan has access to them. And those would be my greatest sets of advice. But thank you all again so much. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you guys again for 1.6K. I know I haven't said that enough, but you guys make Vanguard content so awesome. And I thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for me being able to continue to do this for you guys. And hopefully we keep rounding our way up to 2K, baby. With that being said, God bless and take care.